I'm like, what time is it? It's ready to go. Like I'm already working on new music for another record. That's how crazy it is.
Well, I remember back in March you mentioning that you had enough material for it to potentially be a double record, even. So, are you kind of shaping some of those leftover tracks that you didn't put onto this forthcoming one for the one after that? Like, it's crazy that you think so far ahead and this new album is not even out yet.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, we like originally we weren't even going to put out a record. We were just going to just kind of like adopt this new thing of just putting out songs just whenever we felt like it, you know? But
Right.
we wrote so much within that kind of like, especially when COVID hit, it was like we were cooped up and the only thing we really could do was just, write music and be creative and stuff. So we just kept getting in the studio and the song started building up and it was just like we just were like, let's not be too precious about everything. Let's put out like pretty much everything that we've written. Let's just put it out on a record, and
Hmm.
that's what we're doing. But we narrowed it down to 14 songs. I think we probably kicked like maybe two or three to the curb.
Okay, so it's not too many that you had to get
Yeah,
rid of in
not
the
too
end. So
many,
that's
but
good.
still, 14 songs is a lot. Like
It's a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying,
songs.
especially for the attention span of people these days.
I mean, for me, it's the more the merrier. If a band that I really like is putting out a record, I'm like, please put 20 on it. Like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, right.
One thing that I've always enjoyed about your songs over the years is how there's such a hope and camaraderie when it comes to Papa Roach lyrics. So I'd love to know a little bit more behind the line. I'm dying to believe that we're more alike than we think. Where did that kind of originate from?
Well, like past couple of years, it just seems like everyone was just divided. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
the media divides people, politics divide people, like people's, stance on this and that and whatever. And it was just like, it was just basically just addressing that, like just
Right.
trying to find a way to just bring people together, and realize that we're all the same at the end of the day. We all just want to live a good, healthy, happy life, be there for our friends and family, provide, work hard, have fun, celebrate, do all that good shit. And it just sucks when dumb shit gets in the middle of it.
Right. And I imagine with such a meaning behind it too, playing a song like that with that context live is going to mean even more simply because you do have all these people
Yes.
singing words like that in one room together with that camaraderie once again. Like, I know I'm looking forward to that so much.
Yes. Me too. The sing along, I mean, making eye contact with people, in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I'm so ready for it. Like this break has just been like, it's been nice, because I got to be home and spend time with the family, but I'm so ready for that connection, that live performance, seeing the fans, doing all that.
And just speaking to live performances, it's amazing seeing how many times people have seen Papa Roach live. I see tweets about it. You guys are always retweeting things, and I've personally caught you in concerts 3 times already. So, who are some bands that you've seen live over and over?
Over and over again. I mean, she's so many over the years. Uh, like I've seen Deftones and Corn, and I've seen them like probably at least 20, 30. I mean, because we've toured together.
Wow,
So take
that
away,
helps.
yeah, just from like being friends and anytime that they are around or they come to town, it's like, those are like some old school homies that, I just like, I got to go out and see them, because I just have so much love and respect for those two bands. So yeah, you'll always catch me at one of those shows if they're local or in
Nice.
LA or anything.
That's awesome. I mean, just speaking to other artists now, I know it's a bit of a tricky one, so I'll give you a second to answer. But if you could hang out with one of these for a day, who would you love to? Your choices are Fugazi, The Cure, or Wu Tang.
Or what was the last one?
Wu Tang.
Oh man, it would be pretty interesting to hang out with Wu Tang since there's nine of them. You know what I mean? And they all have
Right.
different personalities and they're all different characters. And that's what I love about Wu Tang. I mean, that's what I love about Slipknot too. Slipknot's kind of
Yeah,
like the metal Wu Tang. You know what I'm saying?
for sure. Even we got the nine there.
I can't even imagine trying to hold it down with that many people. Like it's hard to do it with like four of us.
I'd
But
imagine.
yeah, respect to Slipknot, respect to Wu Tang. I mean, I never got to see them live because, like, back in the day when they did tour a lot, they couldn't ever get like keep it together enough to do like a full on tour. We actually had a show, one festival that we were going to play in Orlando, Florida, about a month ago. It got canceled because of the weather, and Wu Tang was slotted to play right before us, and I was so looking forward
Ah,
to it, but it got canceled so it wasn't meant to be. Maybe next year.
Fingers crossed next time, eh?
Hell yes.
You answered that so much simpler than I thought. I really tried to choose three bands that like I know you absolutely adore, so that one was pretty
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you about, it's the Papa Roach Twitter page. Like, it's really fun to follow. You have all the random questions for fans. I love seeing the involvement when bands are that interactive with people. So I kind of wanted to spin it around and ask a couple of questions you've asked people to yourself. So I'll just rhyme them off here. I should have a few. So the first one is, what is your superpower?
My superpower?
Hmm.
Um, I think I got a couple. Um, I'm like really chill, and sometimes I act like I don't know what's going on or I'm not paying attention, but I'm really like super zoned in. I'm just like, like kind of like in the back, just like taking notes.
You're so zoned in that it looks like you're tuning
Yeah,
out.
but people think I'm not paying attention, but I'm always paying attention. Um, what else is my other superpower? Well, recently I've realized that I'm a pretty damn good flag football coach.
Are you? How'd you get into
Yeah.
that?
Well, my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, and all of her friends signed up for flag football, and they were like, "Oh, we want you to coach. Please do it." And I was like, "I've never done anything like that. I don't know what I'm doing." I like Googled it. I'm like, "How to coach flag football?" And I was like, "Oh, I could do this." And
Easy.
then I literally just was like, I did it, and it was the funnest thing ever. We went like undefeated until the championship just last weekend. We lost, but it was such a fun moment, like to have that with my daughter, and then all of her friends. Like, oh man, I can't. I hope to do it again while I'm home.
Hell yeah, super dad to the list, right? That's awesome.
Right.
All right, the other one that you asked everybody was, who are your favorite Canadian bands?
Oh, favorite Canadian bands? Oh man, there's a lot. Okay,
So many.
I don't want to mess this up, so I'm just gonna name like the ones that I know that are Canadian.
Sure.
And my favorite, so Billy Talent, right?
Good
That's
pick.
a good one. Like Rush, shout out to Rush because Geddy Lee's a badass bass player. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like Simple Plan. Those are homies.
Hmm.
Sum 41, right?
Yep.
Those are homies. Let's see. That's pretty good so far. Canadian. I know there's a lot of Canadian artists out there, but I'm just trying to bust out my favorite ones.
Those are all really good top picks, though. Like those are. I'm so happy you
Okay, cool.
mentioned
I
Rush.
did good, right? That's good.
Oh yeah, I'm a Canadian myself, so I was going through what you said. I'm like, those are all top picks.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and then the last one you asked people, the most recent one, was very simple. It was just 80s or 90s.
80s or 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 80s because that was like I was such an innocent time for me. Like I'm a child of the 80s. Like I was a little kid discovering music. You know, and it was just hilarious. Like when I go back and I listen to music now, I think I probably might go back maybe to more 80s stuff recently. My wife is big in the 80s, like all the synth, all the like new wave stuff,
So
like the
good.
birth of hip hop, the birth of like, the Sunset Strip, rock and roll, hair metal, like everything was new in the 80s. And I just love that, like the fashion, like all the shit people were wearing back then, like that's
Great.
coming back around again. Oh, it was horrible, but it's coming back around again.
I absolutely love it. Well, Tobin, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time for hanging out here on Knotfest Daily. It's been a pleasure being able to learn a little bit more about the band, the music, and yourself. So we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.